So here I am. I'm so excited today. I am waiting for Rhonda to arrive, Rhonda Butler. So here she is. Here she is. We actually came to know each other through that networking meeting, right?
Yes.
I think that's where we first met. So we had a really good connection, I found.
Totally,
and I said, I want to talk to her. I want to get to know her. And here's my opportunity. And it's my opportunity for other people to get to know you too, because I think you're doing something that interests me.
Yeah,
and
I know.
I'm sure it interests a ton of people out there.
Well, it does, because everybody has to eat, you see.
I think you're a self-employed entrepreneur.
Yes. My brand is Speaker Coach Warrior. So that gives you an idea of the kinds of things right away that I'm into. So
A warrior.
A warrior, yeah. And and actually it's the real food warrior part of me that's the warrior. So, the speaker part really appeals to me because, first of all, I've had almost 20 years in the corporate sector as a trainer and facilitator, so I am used to the audience and the speaking part of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And
so Rhonda, you're doing this now, but I know you haven't been doing this forever. How did it all begin for you?
I'd have to say that training has been the bulk of my career. So training sort of came rather organically when I was working in a high-tech company. It was a national company, and so they needed me to train the new person in the Ottawa office. So I said, sure. And this was back in the day when there was no such thing as web training, and we weren't using the internet for any kind of training. So I really had to do the training over the phone.
Did the internet exist?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's been a while. It was a while ago, in fact. So So it was over the phone, and so I ended up really liking the role of training someone on the job. And then because it went so well, they said, well, we have another one who's hired in Calgary. Could you train that person? So it ended up that way, and so I started to do these training sessions and found that they felt really natural to me, as unnatural as training was over a phone, when you have to tell somebody, turn to page 11 of your document. Are you there yet? But it still felt natural, and there was an ease in me being able to deliver information in a way that it was easily understood and help that person to do well, to perform well in their job, right?
Right. But when we met at the networking meeting, I remember you telling a story about you working on cruise ships.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember I was really fascinated with that, because you were talking about how you kind of, had everything was done for you, so that when you came back to the real world, it was
a shock.
So you transitioned from that training to training on ships? Is that what happened?
Yes, ma'am. I became a training officer. And so I was in charge of training anywhere from, 800 to 1,200 crew. I ran the crew training center and was teaching English as a second or third language.
And for those who don't know what that life is like, you were on that cruise ship for a really long time.
Yeah, you're on for months and months at a time.
Yeah, you saying that you're working all the time.
Yeah, it's
right?
7 days a week. There's no weekends. There's 7 days a week.
How many months in a row are
Depending
you going to be
on the cruise ship, 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6.
Yeah, you never get off.
7 days a week.
It's almost like Hotel California, really. It's a floating hotel, so really.
Oh, I see.
It's kind of like what it was.
I never thought of it that
Yeah.
way. And so you would come back, and you have a break for how long?
You have a break for a couple months, and then you go back. So that becomes your life. Yeah.
And you did that for a long time, though.
Yeah, I did several contracts. I was gone for quite a long time.
Like, how many years did you do that?
Probably a total of 7.
Okay, so you liked it.
Yeah, it was.
Obviously.
It was a really interesting draw, because I got to see 52 countries and 118 cities in that time. I mean,
You're like in the Caribbean, I suppose.
I was in Europe. I was in
Europe as
Iceland.
well?
I was in Russia.
Oh,
It was a beautifully enriching experience.
I
Yeah.
bet. And what did you kind of get tired of the beat, or what happened?
Yeah. Well, when you're away from home and working abroad like that for an extended period of time, life takes on a new perspective, because the friends that you make on board, they become your family. And I had friends who were getting married and divorced, having babies, and family members who died, and I wasn't here for that.
I get it.
Yeah.
So you finally decided that you'd leave that life now. So that fascinates me, the transition from that life, which is very different and unique, to coming back. How do you do that? Did you get a job fairly quickly here on I was gonna say on Earth?
Yeah, on Earth. Yeah, it was a massive culture shock. Like I said, I couldn't get with it. The first 3-4 months, I was just, or 2-3 months, I was basically visiting friends and catching up with people, right? And it would be like, okay, Rhonda, let's meet at noon for lunch. I'd be like, great. And it would be 10 to 12, and I'd be in my pajamas, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, and I'm on the South Shore, and I've got to go to Montreal, and I'm like, holy mo! Like, I had no concept of time. I had lost all ability to care for myself, because when you work on board, your laundry is done, your meals are cooked, your cabin is cleaned, your clothes are in my position, the clothes are given to me. I don't have to lift a finger.
You don't have to think about anything.
No, everything is planned out for you. Yeah. So I was always 5 minutes away from anywhere I had to be. So if I've got a meeting with the captain in 5 minutes, I'm leaving my cabin now. Right. Meanwhile, now I've got to get myself to a restaurant to meet you, and I'm 45 minutes away, and I'm in my pajamas. For 6 months, I was late everywhere I went, and I also starved because I forgot to cook for myself. It was 6 months before I really felt like, okay, I think I'll make it.
Was it easy to find a job?
No. I fell flat on my face for the longest time. Almost a year probably.
And so you say you had problems getting hired here, and what finally happened?
It was actually the person who interviewed me was the VP of a company, and she wanted to meet me because she worked with cruise ships in the past, and so she understood what it was to work on a cruise ship. So instantly my skills were valued, and that's what got me the job. But it was the
value
one person
of references, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what was the last position that you held? Were you doing corporate training at that point? Oh, you were.
Yeah.
Okay. And what changed? What happened where you said, I want to go off on my own? What's that little? Was it a moment? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a thoughtful process.
My career trajectory and the decisions I've made in my life have always been based on intuition.
Taking chances, yes.
Right. I like to call them calculated risks. Right. I've taken a few less calculated risks, but I'm a calculated risk taker.
You probably saw the new Canadian food guide that came out.
What I find super interesting, and why I'm excited about the new food guide, is that it is recognizing that whole food is the primary source of nutrition, and that water is the beverage of choice.
Yeah, that's great. I did see that.
Yes, and I have only been drinking water for 7 years now, as long as I've been paleo. And
I did bring your banana, by the way.
Thank you.
Your very specific banana.
Yes, absolutely.
That I'm not sure I got it quite on point.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's not too bad.
But I did notice that you needed a banana without any little distinguishing marks.
Without any brown spots.
and
bright yellow bordering on green. Ripe bananas have more carbs than unripe or less ripe bananas, for the simple fact that as the fruit is ripening in its skin until you eat it, the molecular structure of the banana is evolving, so it's turning more to sugar, and that's going to go into your digestion and into your bloodstream and spike your insulin, whereas the greener banana has much less carbs, much less sugar, and also upon digestion breaks down differently in the form of prebiotics, which benefit your colon as opposed to just going through your stomach and breaking down there. It evolves. That's the thing about food that's so interesting. Back to the food guide then. The food guide is now saying, which is one of the other things I'm excited about, is that it's saying read your labels, cook your food at home, and eat with people.
As opposed to eating
to
with dogs.
But modified is that to say eat with people you love. There you go. Eat with people you care about.
Oh, so you mean like to sit down and have a sit down meal?
have a conversation, go grocery shopping, pick up the phone less to order your Uber Eats, go out and read a label. You know, the old school way of looking at a food label is still the way a lot of people shop. And what are they looking at? They're looking at the number of calories.
Right.
This contains 212 calories. Ugh, I'm putting it down. Oh, this one contains 160. Much better. On a whole food diet, you don't have to watch your calories.
Right, and I think you got into really much better shape, eh? I remember
42
reading.
pounds.
Yeah.
I ended up coming to the paleo way of life because I had a health crisis. I remember the moment it happened. I had those 42 extra pounds. I went down to the officers' mess to have breakfast, and I'm sitting there having breakfast with my friends, and all of a sudden, my pants don't fit.
Really?
And I feel like my skin is stretching. It's going to rip.
Wow.
I had to leave. So I went straight to the medical center.
Right.
And I saw a doctor right away. And the doctor said, it sounds to me like irritable bowel syndrome. So what you're going to do as of right now is stop any grains and any gluten. So no rice, no pasta, no bread, no soups thickened with flour, no white potatoes. You're going to give up dairy right away. No butter, no milk in your cappuccinos, no ice cream, no yogurt, no nothing.
Wow.
He says, next, sugar. No sugar, zero sugar. Drop the chocolate, drop the candy, drop the juice, drop everything that has sugar in it. He goes, you're going to stick to protein and vegetables. That's it. Within 4 months, I had lost 20 pounds, and it was only by cutting out all of those things. People think I'll never survive an elimination diet because how am I supposed to eat my peanut butter and jelly? Look, I'm sorry to say, you're not supposed to eat the peanut butter and jelly anymore. Okay, so peanuts are a legume, right? They're not a nut, they're a legume.
Okay.
And legumes, like peanuts.
Oh my God, I need to
commonly-
get my wits about me. Okay, let me just think about this for a moment. I really thought that peanut butter was an excellent, if it's the no salt and sugar added.
That is a better version. Your regular peanut butter will contain icing sugar and weird hydrogenated oils. So
Right.
if you're buying
It's
a
all
peanut
very
butter,
tasty, I must say, but-
it is, and makes it very spreadable and yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, if you're eating the salt-free, sugar-free, oil separates on top of the peanut stuff, then you are way better off than your commercial craft brand of peanut butter.
Okay, I feel better now. But there's a but to this.
There is a but to this. Foods that are known to cause inflammation should either be eliminated from your diet or drastically reduced.
Okay.
Peanuts are one of those because they contain something called lectins, amongst other things. But lectins create inflammation.
Okay. You're just talking about silent inflammation.
Yes, yeah.
That's a shame.
If you feel good and well and alert and happy,
Right.
then there's probably no reason for you to really give up the peanut butter you have on occasion, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll give myself as an example, right? I don't eat bread or pasta or cookies or cake or donuts or whatnot. I extremely limit dairy, right? Ice cream, yogurt, milk, cream, all of that. I don't eat that.
You don't eat yogurt?
Very rarely.
I brought you a gift.
What is it?
Yogurt. I
it-
just make plain yogurt.
But-
So mine is completely, there's nothing in it though. There's no flavor or anything. So
Excellent.
You have,
I only, if I eat yogurt anyways, it's only plain.
Right.
Oh my gosh, how nice. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate a wonderful homemade gift. Edible. I love
Me too.
edibles.
Me too.
Thank you.
Well, Rhonda, this was fabulous.
It was so much fun to be driving around with you today. Not too much traffic. We didn't get stuck. But it was an honor and a privilege to have a conversation with you about something we are both truly so passionate about.
Yes. I loved it. And I learned stuff. And I'm going to have to, rethink the peanut butter.
Thank you so much. And I will definitely eat your homemade yogurt. If I'm going to eat any yogurt, it's going to be
give
homemade.
it to you. You're going to see.